Hey guys, hope you're doing well. In this video I'm going to show you how to build an Arduino car, but instead of using this acrylic that you may have, we're going to be using cardboard that you can obtain from a recyclable box like this one, and this is going to be to obtain a more personalized design. Okay, so in this case we are going to be working with Arduino Uno. It's okay if you have the Arduino Mega, it can work perfectly with any of these, but I'm gonna be showing you how to connect it with the Arduino Uno, and we're gonna be using also the L290N driver. If you may have the motor shield driver like this one, you can use it, it's okay. I'm gonna show you how to build with this one, but it can work perfectly with any other motor shield driver like this. Or even if you don't have any of those, you can get this microcontroller that is the L293N driver, the microcontroller that we can use to program everything for this activity. So let's start. Let me show you first all the components that we are going to be using for this video. And this is all the components we're going to be using for this car. So we need the motors, the wheels, a servo motor like this one, battery container with its screws and nuts, the L290N driver, the Arduino board Uno, this wheel with its fastener holders and screws, nuts, the ultrasonic sensor, and this plastic holder for the servo motor. Also, you may have to get more screws, nuts, and a screwdriver, some tweezers, obviously batteries, and maybe tape. Okay. And I'm gonna glue all the components with a silicone gun. So you have to get one, or you can use some other kind of glue, it's okay. I had several boxes in here. I should pick one of it, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna use the middle one, the middle sized one, like this one. I think this is gonna be the arrangement of the elements inside the box, and I think I have to make a hole in here to add the ultrasonic sensor and the servo motor in here before we continue. And I think that the first thing to do is gonna be to glue the motors on both sides of the box. So in this case it's gonna be better to take off these two fasteners in here, and it's gonna work perfectly like this. It's not gonna happen anything wrong at all. Now to glue it, I'm gonna add a little silicone in here and paste it right here. Let me add the silicone in here. And then I'm gonna paste it like right here. Remember to leave enough space, and it's gonna be on the same on the other side. So let me paste it. So in the other side is the same. Let's just add some silicone, paste it. To avoid any problem with the screws and nuts, I'm gonna paste it just like this. So I'm gonna add some silicone in here, and there we go. Now we can paste it like this. Be very careful because it can be really hot. So far we have something like this. And to get the cables for the motors inside the box, I'm gonna make a little holes in both sides so both motors can get the cables inside to connect to the driver, to the L290N driver. So and there you go. Now we have the cables inside the box. This is going to be the arrangement inside the box. So wheels are over here. One of the wheels is on this side, the other wheel is in here, and the crazy hammer wheel is in the front. So in here I'm gonna paste on this side, this way, the driver, the Arduino Uno. I'm gonna put it in here. Make sure you leave enough space to add everything to connect the 9 volts battery and to connect the USB cable. Whenever you want to load the code, you have enough space in here, and the battery container like this. Make sure to not make contact with any stuff that you don't want to touch. It's okay, it's not gonna happen anything wrong, but there you go. Now we have it on the middle. As I told you before with the other driver, it's not gonna happen anything wrong, but to avoid any problem, just put it like this, spread all the silicone, and right away paste it into the box. And the same for the plastic battery container. Add a little silicone, just like this, and then paste it like this. Next thing to do is to paste this little arm axe we have in here. Is this white thing that we have with inside the back of the servo motor. So we're gonna attach the servo in here like this, but we have to paste this on the front of our car. So it's gonna be in here. It's on the side where we have the little wheel. So we're gonna paste this right here, and we need to make a little hole right here to get all the cables that it's gonna be connected from the components, the servo motor, the ultrasonic sensor, into the Arduino and the driver. Okay, so let's start with the little hole and to paste this right here. So you can attach it. With a little screws like this. You can put it like this and then attach it in the box. I'm gonna try first with the screw. I'll pressure with the screwdriver. It can be both ways. So in this case, you have to force it a little bit because the screws, it doesn't fit perfectly. So you have to open a little bit the arm. Now we have it this way. Let me show you like this. And now our car is like this with the both wheels on the front, on the back, sorry, and the front, the little one. And here is gonna go the servo. And for the servo and the ultrasonic sensor, we have to fix it with this plastic holder. So to fix it with this, you have to attach the servo like this. Let me get closer. So with the servo container, that is this one, you have to put it like this. This is the front part, the one with the circle like this. This is gonna be the front part, and you can put it, it's okay, like this, with the cables of the servo motor on the back. Okay, so it has two spaces in here, so you can fix the servo right there, and then you can attach it with the other part of the plastic holder like this. So you have to hear a click sound. There you go. Now this is attached perfectly, so we can attach the ultrasonic sensor in front of it, and we can connect the cables in here, and this sensor only goes like this. So this is the reason this has to be perfectly attached to the box. Before we continue, I have to make a little hole in here so we can get all the cables through to the box, inside the box. In this case, it's gonna be a bigger one because it's gonna be a lot of cables. We have 3 cables for the ultrasonic, for the servo motor, and 4 cables for the ultrasonic sensor. So ultrasonic sensor, we can glue it like this. We can paste it in here. attach it properly to the plastic holder, I'm gonna use a copper. Let me put it like this. The other one, it's gonna be almost the same, but it's gonna pass right through here. It's okay, like this. The other in here. Now we can pass it in here. And this one is gonna be in here. This is one way you can do it. It can be many ways. You can find your own way to attach it. So this works for me. It can work for you. Now what we have to do is to place it in here, in the little arm that they paste on front of the box, and there you go. Cables goes through here to the hole that we made in here, so we can put it inside the box. Now let's connect all through. Okay, so the first two cables that we are gonna connect are the one that comes from any of the wheels. In this case, it's gonna be this one. That are these cables and goes in the L298 driver, and it can be connected in any of these two outputs. We have out 2, out 1, out 2, out 3 or 4. So for one motor is 1, 3, 1, 4 for the first one, out 1, out 2. So we have to screw them like this. So you have to release a little bit the screw, connect one of the cables in here, on the other one on the other header, properly attached. Now the other motor is gonna be the same, so these two cables goes in out 3 and 4. We can connect it in any order. Now we have to screw them up. Now on the back of the car I made a little hole so I can add this little switch that is gonna let the energy flow from the battery to the little switch, and this is gonna allow the energy flow to continue to power up everything and then turn it on. So I'm gonna add this little switch in here. The cable that goes in this little switch is the one that comes from the battery container, the one of the AA battery container, and it should be the red cable. So we're gonna connect one of the cables in here. I recommend you to connect the cables before we paste everything in here, before we add the glue. So for the other cable, we're gonna attach this one from here to the motor shield driver, or in this case the L290N driver, to the 5 volts in here to power up this little driver. So that goes in here in the motor shield driver. Okay, now we are able to place the switch. Let's put it in here. You can tape it like this, maybe something like this, then you can place it. Now the cable that came from the switch goes in the first pin, the 5 to 12 volts in here. This is the power section of the L298 driver. So the first one goes in this one that says 6 to 12 volts. So we are gonna power up everything by connecting this cable that comes from the switch from the batteries in here, and the black cable that is the ground cable that comes again from the battery container, the AA battery container, goes in ground. That is the middle pin that we have in here, the middle header. So first one, this one is 5 volts for the voltage from the switch, and next one is ground. This cable are gonna be to connect the motors from the driver to the Arduino. So we have several inputs in here, and as you remember, we have these pins in here. The first pin is N1, second one is N2. So we're gonna connect N1 and N2 with these two cables. I'm gonna use this red and this orange cable with a female cable, and the other end, that is the male cable, goes to pins 13 and 12 in the Arduino board. So they has to be like this. Now the next two are gonna be again a female to male cable, so they have to go in N3 and N4 in the Arduino, sorry, in the driver, and this is gonna be connected in the Arduino board in 13 and sorry, in 11 and 10. So in here, and 1 goes in 13 and 2 goes in 12, then 3 11 and 4 10. For the servo motor we have these cables. It has one brown cable, this is for ground, middle one, red one for voltage, and here one to send the signal. So the orange one I'm gonna use, we need to use 3 male to male copper cables like this one. So let me try to use the almost the same color, but this one, orange one, I'm gonna connect an orange color, next one a red one, middle one, and last one I don't have brown, but I'm gonna use this red cable. So red cable has to go to ground, middle one to voltage, and this one is gonna be for the signal. So the one of the signal, the orange color, I'm gonna connect it in pin number 7 on the Arduino board. Red one, it has to be in the voltage, so in this case, to power up this component we have to connect this in the output from here. So the output, the energy output on the driver is the last one, the third one, the one that says 5 volts. So we have to attach it in there. And finally, last one has to be connected in ground. So we can do it in 2 ways. One is to connect it in here, in the ground, in the servo, in the motor shield driver, or in the Arduino to connect it in any of the grounds of the Arduino. So we can try it both ways. So in this case, to avoid any confusion, I'm gonna put it in here. So now we have 2 cables in here. One is the one that comes from the servo motor, and the other one is the black cable that came from the battery container. So it has to be this way. We have 2 black cables in here. One comes from the servo motor, and the other one, the other black cable that goes in the middle in here, comes from the battery container. Finally, for the ultrasonic sensor, we are going to connect it in these 4 pins. Remember, the first one is ground, second one echo, then trigger and voltage, VCC. So red one is for voltage, so I'm going to be using these cables. Again, we need to use female to male cables, so the female parts are going to be connected in here. So in this case, these 4 cables are going to go in here in the 4 pins, and I'm gonna try to do it this way. In this case, voltage, I'm using a red cable. You can actually use any color, but by standards it has to be a red one. In this case, ground, I connected with the green one, and echo is yellow and trigger orange. Now this one, voltage has to be connected in the voltage in the Arduino, or it can be connected to the servo motor, to the driver, L298 driver, sorry. So trigger, that is the orange color, it's gonna go in A1, and in this case, echo, we're gonna be connected in A2. Remember, we have this little, we add this little hole in here so we can place the cables inside the box. Okay. Green cable goes in ground. Ground is the middle pin that we have in here. So now we have 3 cables in here. One is the one that comes from the servo. The other one comes from the battery container, and here one is the one of the ultrasonic sensor. So we have to screw them like this, and there you go. Now we have the 3 cables in there, in middle one. The red cable that comes from the ultrasonic sensor, the one that comes from VCC, goes in the 5 volts output in the driver, so it has to go with the red cable that we have it from the servo and also the ultrasonic sensor. So we have 2 cables on the LADs pinning here. Okay, and eco and trigger goes in A0 and A1 in the analog part of the ultrasonic sensor, of the Arduino board. Just remember, trigger is orange cable and trigger the orange cable goes in A1, that is goes in here in the digital section in here, and eco goes in A2 on the analog section in here. So we have these 2 cables that goes to the ultrasonic sensor. All circuit seems like this. There you look the code. I recommend you to add batteries, like industrial batteries in here in the battery container, and the 9 volts battery to connect it to the Arduino. And now we are ready to test it. So everything is working fine. Let me. Okay, now it's time to test it. So let me turn on the switch and let it go. And that's all, guys. I hope you liked the video and see you next time.